Hello and welcome to From This Point Forward, a World Baseball Classic podcast. We are here to talk Sabres. This was going to be a trade deadline conversation. I think that's taken the back seat here. We got so much to talk about last night, game of the century. Let's go.
Let's acknowledge the fact that in one of your favorite movies of all time, you thought the slogan was "Ducks quack forever" instead of "Ducks fly together."
You also think they live in wells. It's the whole theme of the movie, Lou. But he had the duck call.
They go quack.
It would be Malcolm Subban, mostly because that one season where instead of letting him play for the Sabres for the last game of the year, they had him sing the national anthem. And it was a real, you're under contract, the season is over. We know you've only gotten to be up here a couple of times. How about you come back up here? Oh, great, I'll put my pads in the car. No. You won't need them. Just make sure you warm up the pipes when you're driving down the 90.
What, Mitch Marner?
You heard it, Mitch. If you want to sign here, you can drill Ryan's mom.
Well, hello. So much here to start. I texted you guys last night. I go, well, I don't think we'll need a show sheet, but I should always have one. I don't. So I don't know where to start. I mean, obviously, last night, Chris, you were in the building, so I think starting with you. Maybe just letting us know, talk about the environment a little bit and all that, because me and Kyle Turner were over here punching each other, throwing things, screaming. What was your experience like last night?
I mean, you've seen the videos of all the highlights cheering, the place erupting for the goals, everybody in the concourse post game. But beyond that, I'm old school when I go to a game. I like to get there early. I like to watch warm-ups. I like to, get the scratches early when they put the lineup card in. It was already packed house, hour and a half before the game, and no giveaway or anything. No gravy boats, no butter dishes, no bobblehead Rick Jeanerets. This was strictly for the love of the game. People ready to go, right out of the gate, chanting, cheering, loud, and this is what it is. I've been to plenty of games, some big playoff games, some big regular seasons games. This was unlike anything I've ever been around before in my life, because even in the heyday of the mid-late 90s Sabres or the mid-2000s Sabres, you would still get that, they go down 2 goals in the third period. The arena starts to get that awkward energy. And this was, I don't know how much of it was picked up on the broadcast, but, Tampa goes back up 7-5, and there's about 20 seconds of silence in the arena. And then right back to deafening "Let's Go Buffaloes." Unlike anything that I've ever been to live. It was incredible.
Thoughts from home?
Yeah, trying to have a unique thought about this experience it can be challenging, right? Because we're all just sort of sitting here reveling in the fact that this team is officially back But there's a couple of cool things that stand out for me. Number one, I think about how it's been really 20 years since this team has been a legitimate contender, right? So I think about all the fans who have never gotten to experience anything like this before. So that makes me feel really good. Things like in the arena last night when they're playing or showing the two packed penalty boxes, and you get the boos and the cheers. I mean, that is like the good old fashioned entertainment that you get from the Sabres games. And so seeing fans get that again is such a treat. And then even my daughter, one of my two daughters, coming down or getting home from school today and asking, when the Sabres are on, because she's interested in the game. So for these reasons, I mean, it's so captivating to watch them at this point. So they're officially back, and to see the fans get rewarded for sticking with them. I mean, I know everyone, not everyone was there during the Ron Rolston days and going to all 82 games. I mean, that's tough, but in this area still, it's just waiting for this, and now it's starting to bubble over and erupt finally. And I can't just help but sit back and just say, wow. I mean, it's so enjoyable to see every aspect of it. I've just tried to soak up as much as I can while it's happening.
Yeah, my turned 5-year-old yesterday. We were having her birthday party here, and she was she's doing this. She has Dalene is getting in a fight. I mean, and she's screaming to beat him up, and I'm like, being the dad I am, like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. She asked if we could go. I have 2 games this week. I was going to Thursday and Saturday, and I had her Tuesday. And I went and bought Tuesday tickets like during the game. It's like, let's go. You want to go? I'm going to take you. I wanted not being there. It's insane. And we're going to have this conversation here at some point during this podcast, because I want to kind of pick your guys' brains to just see personal ones. But we've talked a lot. Season ticket holder for 30 years, since 93, 94. Didn't miss many games for the first 23 years of that. And when I say I don't miss many, I mean not a lot at all. One of the games I did miss was the Senators Sabres. Now I am, like someone that has been to almost a really good percentage of Sabres games in my lifetime, and I've missed what I think are probably the 2 best regular season games of all time. We will get into that a little bit more later. But you said something interesting that I want to kind of start with, which is definitely not the lead here. But Ryan, you said, it's hard to say things that haven't been said here over the last 24 hours about the game. And we could sit here and talk about all the obvious stuff. I want to go away from that a little bit and I don't, and maybe you guys know, maybe you guys have heard, I was meant to go check. I want to know what Cooper was thinking with that goaltender rotation over the weekend, where he goes Vasilevsky over, and actually we talked about this a little bit on the thing, but goes Vasilevsky against Toronto, and then comes with Johansson against us. I don't get that at all. I know, Chris, and I'll let you make this point. I know you made the point in the chat about, maybe it's because we beat him up last time, but you don't make that decision based off of that. That's one of the best goalies in the league, in the world. Johansson's horrible. One thought process I had today was maybe it was you get the sure too. That you don't want to put Johansson and then lose to Toronto, and a bad team, and then still lose to the Sabres. Maybe their thought was you beat the bad team and you get the sure too, and then you try your best with the Sabres. But I didn't like that call, and I think that's a unique talking point here. Thoughts, Chris?
So I as I mentioned in the chat, that was also that Sabres game, the last game in Tampa Bay. They were, he had something crazy, like 19 straight wins or something like that. Vasilevsky.
Yeah.
after that shelling that they gave him in that game, he struggled the next few, like having trouble to maintain an 800 save percentage for the best goalie in the world. You don't want him to start getting into a head case. He's getting older. The season's running down. He plays a ton for them. Maybe it's the get the sure thing in Toronto. I think it's more you play him against Toronto to get his head back in the game.
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
solid point.
Toronto's struggling, he's struggling, and you make it, get yourself out of the ditch. Um, it was definitely a choice. Um, almost didn't pan out for him in that roller coaster yesterday. The first
Right.
half of the game, it was like, oh man, this was the worst decision of all time. I don't know. That's the best I can come up with, though.
This isn't a lightning podcast, but Ryan, you got any thoughts to add on to that?
Yeah, I think my take on it is, so if Cooper either did not take it seriously enough with the Sabres, right? He looks but he doesn't strike me as someone that's like a lack of planning type. I mean, he's the Olympic, Canadian Olympic men's coach. So I doubt he's not really doing the X's and O's work. What I think instead is maybe his thought is, hey, if we can get a win with Johansson, think about what that does for the confidence of the squad. Surging Buffalo team, they go on the road and they get the win with Johansson. Maybe he wants them to play. His thought is maybe they play a tighter defensive game. Well, that didn't work out, but maybe that was his thought. I don't know. It did strike me as odd, and I agree that this is kind of a different talking point. I haven't heard anyone really spend any time talking about this.
Yeah, it was just something that, again, when I was talking to somebody about the game today, it's like, what do you, I know we want to talk about it all, but it's just so hard to process, and we'll get through it. But it's just, I mean, from the get go with, the hit on Tage and they get in there, and Darlene gets his ass kicked, and it kind of makes a light of it, in the post game interview. And I kind of like that, where he was, he said, I'm trying to do what I can, but I know it went however it went. I think he said, I think that was the exact quote that he had. I really loved watching him do that, no matter what the case was. Every time something happened, went down, the whole team, everybody that was on the ice was right behind what was happening. And that was really, really good to see, especially when they just went and moved, for 4 guys because they didn't think that there was enough toughness on this team, and only one of them was on the ice. So I like to see that. That was great. And then, the biggest thing for me was that well, they got their ass whooped every single time. I don't know. Melestein won his, I think. Melestein rocked it, but they lost a lot of fights, but they were willing to keep going out there and throw them. And I'm super stoked to see that come out of them.
Yeah, I loved, and we can get in, I'm sure, to talking about these trade deadline acquisitions. So, when the moves come in, it's funny to think about, I think in years past, we've looked at the trade deadline as like, our savior, right? Like, oh man, maybe we'll get some big move to really save our team. But truly, the smart teams are never doing that. The teams that win the cup never are making these huge, like, impactful player for player trades. Like, that just doesn't happen. They are filling for sandpaper. And the moves of, first of all, Carrick looks like a great player for fourth line, winning, face-offs. I mean, here I was months ago talking about how I just wanted skill guys to fill out our bottom 6, but man, I was proven wrong there. I mean, he's a perfect player. He wins draws. He'll fight you. He'll hit you. I mean, that line with Malenstein too, just everyone is flying at all times. I mean, just what is not to like about this team? The coolest thing about it is, just like in 05-06, it comes out of seemingly nowhere. I mean, we have this podcast, talking about And truth be told, it's easier and sometimes funnier when the team is not good, because you can just rip on them and make fun of all the funny, the terrible things that they're doing. But it's just so great right now. Where's the hole to pick at? I mean, I'm excited now, especially after a game against Tampa, where they're trying to pummel your face in. Now I'm happy we have guys like Luke Shen and Logan Stanley coming in on the back end to protect against that. So, hell yeah. I mean, let's go.
I mean, I've got something that I don't like about this team right now. I've
Yeah,
no,
thank you. Thank you.
Peyton Krebs not currently in my top 10. The new takeover for the number one thing I don't like about this team is that sometime in the last week, Beck Malenstein has acquired the skating posture of Milan Lucic, and I don't care for it. Suddenly he's skating like he's got the old Brian Cox shoulder pad roll in the back, and I don't like it. He's playing great. I'm glad he's on my team, but straighten up those shoulders, kid.
Yeah, or else he's going to turn into Quasimodo.
And look, we got a Leafs fan in here. Leafs fan here rooting for you guys. Unreal squad. They'll go deep. Hey, listen, and you know what? We had a clip from how I said Leafs fans were so much better than Habs fans, and I didn't even realize that there was getting comments, and everybody shit on me and called me an idiot and called me an asshole. Here it is. Proof that Leafs fans are better than Habs fans right there. Thanks, Henry. I appreciate your support, and I hope Austin Matthews turns into a hockey player one day. For your guys, like, I hope he becomes clutch one day. That's the best thing. Like right now, we're cocky. We're like, right. We one time we're in first place. We're like, let me tell you about how your team sucks. No, I will never be cocky ever again. So the Melisine, yeah, that's a funny bit, the Melisine thing. But I mean, the dude has been, like Ryan said, it almost is like Carrick made that fourth line perfect now. I mean, they really do. They just go out there, they cycle the puck, they hit everything in sight. Carrick is easy. It's easy to downplay a fourth line center addition, right? Like it's easy to downplay that. But to Ryan's point, that dude is 100% going to be Vinny Trocheck in the Olympics. He will be taking important faceoffs in the last minute of a Stanley Cup playoff game where they're up one, down one, and that dude's going to be out there taking the faceoff. And that's just like, I mean, that goes to show how bad the faceoffs have been for this team. But still, and then he scores a nice goal. I mean, he's got 4 goals all year. He comes and snipes that goal. That it's such a cool thing.
A nice shot.
So let's get into the deadline. Oh, sorry, you going to say something, Chris?
I said it was a beauty of a goal.
Yeah, I mean it was a goal scorer's goal. The cool thing. Let's get into the deadline. Let's start with, before we talk about the additions, how we went from 100 to a 0 real quick. I mean, we'll start with the Rob Thomas thing, which I don't think was as close as some were reporting it to be. 1-for-1 Tage for Matthews. No, thank you, Henry.
I would definitely do that. Side note.
Would you? Would not. I would
you
not.
Would not?
Today. I would not. I really wouldn't.
I really wouldn't. And tomorrow, do it. Yes.
Well, we'll spend some time negotiating, Henry. Let's start with the Rob Thomas stuff. Top 10 player. There were reports that, that it was big pieces, but it wouldn't have been any of the top 4 I think the reports that come out that said that there was not top 4 defensemen in it were just people that knew the Buffalo Sabres. They're like, there's no way they would, if this in Chad D and, guys like that were like, yeah, there's just no way they would move one of those. So this has to be other pieces. And so, but then there was reports that Power was one of those pieces. And I don't think those conversations got past them saying his name. Like, I think they said Owen Power, and they were like, no, thank you. We're good. And Rob Thomas is a top 10 center in this league for me. Like, when it goes to a all-around player, I think he's great. And I think that that's not a player you could easily get. But those top 4 guys were no's for me. If they talked Byram, if they could win Byram and some big-time assets, I would have thought about it. But especially if they were getting Parayko back. But we'll talk about Parayko in a second. How close do you think the Rob Thomas thing was? How excited would you have been to get him in? I don't want to spend too much time on it because, like I said, I think it was kind of dead before it started. But Chris?
I mean, they may have talked, but I just saw something from an interview with Thomas earlier today that was like, he was unaware that they were discussing him. Like, the team, the Blues never called him to mention that they were possibly dealing him. They never asked about his no trade clause. So it feels like that was definitely, I mean, they may have talked it out, but it feels like it was just talking and it was never really serious. Maybe because of the asking price. And both sides kind of knew that. But I mean, you get a guy like that, it's always great, but it just didn't feel like the style of this team.
Here's what I think. I think the last reporting I remember seeing was that they, quote, went the distance on Robert Thomas. I think that's what the Dreger reported. So went the distance to me means, in this context, the Sabres submitted what they would consider to be their best offer for him, and the Blues demanded something different. And that's where the impasse probably happened. I do think that they probably did get somewhat down the road on this, and it probably did involve, something like Roseanne and other pieces, but it would have had to take a lot. I mean, it was going to take reportedly 4 or more pieces. I would have really loved it. To Louis' second question, that would have been the one slam dunk move, even more so than Parayko, who I'll just give you quickly my thoughts on him. I mean, Louis, I think you mentioned to me that you would have been, kind of happy that it wasn't going to go through or didn't go through. I think I'm kind of ended up there too. At this point, I think I'd take, keeping Murtka and the first, and saving those assets for the summer potentially. But if Parayko's heart's not in it, I mean, come on, man. I get it. I mean, listen, that's why you have no trade protection. But man, how soft is that? You have an opportunity.
I'm going to fight you so hard. Go ahead. Sorry.
Listen, I'm fine. Yeah, great. He's won his cup. He's 33, and so he's I'm not trying to upend my life, and I'm dating the St. Louis pizzeria chick. All right, great, wonderful. I respect that. I totally do. But I just think, I mean, you hear about these guys being like, the biggest competitors and stuff. You mean to tell me that you're going to put that ahead of a legitimate chance to go win something? And maybe he didn't really believe it. They hadn't had this remarkable game against the Lightning to secure a top, place in the Atlantic. But still, I don't know. I get it. It's his right to do it 100%. I'm not arguing it's not. I look at that and I'm just like, good riddance, man. We don't want you. If that's what you're made of.
First off, as you said, they talked about the trade going to distance. Going to distance to me means touching both boobs. But so that is my definition. But I totally disagree with you on the Parayko thing. And I did a lot of this because I know what's going to happen. He's going to get booed the next 10 times he's here. And it's so dumb. He could have went almost anywhere else in the league and made more money than coming here when you talk about taxes. So I don't want to do the Kevin Adams taxes and palm trees thing.
That is not his reason. That's not even his top.
100% it's one of the reasons. You're crazy.
He wanted to go to California. You think he's going to get taxed less out there?
You heard that. Did he want to? You don't know that. You heard that from the same guys that said that Rob Thomas was about to come to the Sabres. I don't want to hear that. He never came out and said that. And if he did, they were the same taxes. And guess what? They have fucking palm trees. So it is not any worse. No, there was no worse spot than New York. So as far as his actual money, he's got 3 more years. He wasn't a UFA. That cost him $800,000 more. Like, you giving up $800K? 1, 2, he has won a cup. 3, he's got a life. If it was a UFA thing, boo him all you want. But the dude had 3 more years of a commitment, and they wanted an answer within 24 hours. That is not an easy thing to do. And just within 24 hours, decide whether or not you want to uproot your life and go to fucking Buffalo for 3 years. Listen, this team is great. They're on the verge of something, but I went outside today in a t-shirt and shorts because it was 60 degrees in March. And guess what? The next
And he's coming from
snow
St.
again.
Louis, which is the biggest thing they have there is an arch that nobody really goes to, and a fucking Budweiser factory. I mean, give me a break. It's a ghost town there. It is a fucking ghost town. Yes, they have a Major League Baseball team, but the fucking Cardinals haven't been relevant since the 90s. And I mean, I'd rather go watch
won a World
game.
Series in the last decade.
Listen, I don't care about baseball at all. I was hoping they would suck.
You said it so confidently, too.
Yeah, I don't care about baseball.
Chris, thoughts?
Okay, first off, I think we all know who in this room has had problems with the IRS in the past. I don't think he cared about taxes. Here's my problem with this whole situation is that you've got these guys with these no trade clauses and these no movement clauses, and these dirtball GMs make full negotiations and don't ask them first. Like, that should be the number one thing.
So crazy.
The NHL files their paperwork by carrier pigeon. There's interns in there all day scribing this stuff down in little tiny sheets of paper to shove into a little bootstrap for a bird to go to the league office in New York. And they don't even tell the guy, hey, you're on the market. Same thing with the rumor about Rob Thomas. He didn't even know that he was being shopped. Like, what are we doing here?
No, I totally. There needs to be the whole. I don't hate the whole no movement clause, but it is really hard. You know, they played, they earned it. You know, obviously, like the PA thought it was really important, but it's really hard to do that and have 100% guaranteed contracts. Like, you know, like the NFL has no trade clauses. They have no guaranteed contracts. These players are just getting cut left and right. Like, I think it has to be one or the other. This just, you know, half the team. And now garbage players are getting these no trade movement, and you're getting stuck with them for years. I think it's an issue. I don't love it. I totally agree with you how insane it was that this deal got out before they even asked Parayko if he'd be willing to. It's baffling to me that was a thing. But I do think that there should be. You guys are downing the money thing. I'm just not downing when $1 million is $1 million, no matter if they're millionaires or not. There should be a way that they. Like the Sabres, say the Sabres take on Parayko. There should be a way that they can offer the more money to you know, compensate for the money he'd lose to taxes and it not count against salary cap. I think that's such a simple answer. Like, and then I'm talking about this is for the California teams and whatever, any team that has this problem. And the Sabres are obviously going to be the worst of them all. Maybe San Jose is another one. Like, a non desirable city in a high tax state, maybe the Islanders, but you know, you're in these things, and the team should at least have the option to compensate for that without it counting against the cap. I just think that would facilitate more trades. And isn't that the end of, like, isn't that what makes it exciting? Ryan and I have talked about this so much on this podcast. Trade deadline day was my favorite day, you know, for years. And this last 3-4 years have been duds.
This is the exact conversation Steve Ballmer was having in his office before they ultimately ended up signing Kawhi Leonard and finding a way to pay him to be like a tree contractor or something. So that's what we have to do. We just have to pay him under the table. You know, let's get Pareko to do a deal with
for
like
3
Simonelli.
days a week. You are the sous chef at Duff's Wings. You never have to show up. But
When he takes his job serious, he goes.
Sign this W-2 form and don't worry about it.
Lindy's pissed because he can't get him to go to optional skate. He just keeps showing up because he claims he's the head chef at Tufts.
He's like, listen, they pay my checks. I'm going. He's like, you don't. We told you don't have to go. He's like, but I make the best wings. My gosh,
these little celery sticks aren't gonna cut themselves.
What a life he could have had here. He's really missing out.
That's great. Let's talk about the guys that I want to get back to that game a little bit here, but let's talk about the guys they did get at the deadline, and they get Logan Stanley, who is a tree and a very calm tree. Chris, I know you didn't watch the telecast, but this was like the most exciting period of hockey that I have ever seen in my life. And Stanley didn't even like, his voice was even Rob Ray called him out about it. It was like, dude, you could get excited. You know that, right? Like you could get a little jacked up right now. It's your new team. Stayed pretty calm. I liked how he talked, and I liked the player. Analytics don't do him great. Luke Shen is a pylon, I think. and then Carrick and Pearson, which was kind of past the buzzer. I think Pearson would be more so just depth. My personal opinion is you're only going to see Carrick and Stanley play meaningful minutes. I think Shen and Pearson will only play if injuries arise. I will tell you one time Shen will play, and that's April when the Lightning come back in town. I'm sure he will be in that night. But besides that, I hope not to see him too much. Thoughts on the trade deadline altogether? Start with you, Chris.
Okay, so I did go back when I got home last night. I watched the fights on the telecast. I came across a little bit of the Logan Stanley interview, and you're saying he's a calm tree. I'm seeing serial killer face when I look at him and listen to that monotonous tone of his voice as people are just getting beaten in front of him. And I think it's more so he's hiding his jealousy that he can't taste another human being's blood for one night. That's just me. I like those depth moves. Again, I don't care about analytics that much because analytics would say that Zach Metza is the greatest defenseman that ever played. If you plugged him in a game for 22 minutes, I think that number drops drastically. And that's not to say he hasn't been effective when he's been in the game. I'm just saying, if you're like, oh, but the analytics say have him play 30 minutes because 4 guys get ejected, it's not going to go well. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I feel the same way about Shen and Pearson. Maybe a couple games down the stretch when they start getting some of those back-to-backs, especially if they have a lot of physical ones like this. They got a lot of teams coming up that are still fighting for a spot. I feel good about them. Let's see how they play.
Yes, since everyone gave their thoughts on the Logan Stanley interview, I'll just say yes to follow up on Chris's point. He was actually the runner-up for Joe in the Netflix show You. He decided to pursue NHL career instead. Yeah, he's going to be fine. I don't care what his numbers say on Winnipeg. I mean, come on. I guess maybe his numbers should look great because you have the greatest goalie in the world back there, or at least in the Olympics he was. But no, he's going to be fine. It's a big, defensive defenseman who can, add a little physicality to the blue line. I mean, it sounds great to me. You can't ever have too many of those guys in the playoffs. Carrick, again, another good depth piece. I really don't know, much about Pearson. I know he used to be decent, but again, I think Louis right that it's just going to be depth if injuries come up, and same with Shen. So yeah, I'm happy with all the moves, and it, like I said, I'm just, it's exciting to see them add chess pieces that are not just, big swings for franchise play, changing players. Every player has a role on this team, and they're really kind of firing on all cylinders right now, which is why it's working so well.
Yeah, I do think it was a perfect way to show the team that you believe in them, right? Like you're not really replacing anybody with that besides, maybe a couple back end defensemen, but like the core of the team stays together. You're showing them that you believe what's going on is real, and the pieces are more just like, especially with the toughness aspect. I don't think that they could watch that game last night in their fights and be like, yeah, we're tough. Like I think that they have to know at least what they are. And I think they probably appreciate the fact that they're going to have some guys step in here and take care of some of that dirty work in some of these games. I am a little hot takey here. I want Kesselring to come out before Metsä for
oh, you didn't think he looked good yesterday?
He looked really, really good yesterday. Yesterday was probably his best game as a Sabre, to be honest. I think he looked good. He got, I like that he got tough and physical. I think he provided a couple opportunities. Yesterday was one of his better games, if not his best game as a Sabre. He's, obviously looked pretty lost throughout the year. I think a lot of that's been health, but to Chris's point, I want to see Metsä have to play more minutes and see if that's real or not, because his time limited has been good. You cannot, he's not flashy, but that's the best thing. When you don't hear a defenseman's name in a game is a really good thing. I think he's a really good player, and I think he's a great 5 or 6. And he's 100%. If it got to be where they do go Kesselring and Stanley, which whatever is probably the most common, if there's an injury, I want to see Metsä before I see Shen. Shen's done. Shen should only be in a game like when you're going to need somebody to fight and play 5 minutes. Shen to me is dead.
I think Metsä is the new Victor Antipin that everyone loves for some reason, and he's really average. But I actually thought that when the trade for Parayko went down, I thought that it was Metsä in a first. And I was like, hell yeah. And then I looked closer, and it's just another combination of TKA. So it was Bertka. I was like, oh, that's actually kind of a loss. So yeah, I don't know. He's fine. But Bryson, good riddance. I mean, he was also just fine. And again, I know, Chris, I think you're constantly defending him, that he was also just in a role too big for his size. But I agree.
He's a guy. He should be in the press box every night. He shouldn't have to play 36 games in a season. That's not his fault.
Dude, you guys are dumb. I'm starting.
He's contracted to do it if he has to.
I'm starting the Zach Metsä fan club, and
that was about Bryson.
Oh, about Bryson. Yeah. That's the best. Yeah. I'm so excited that he's gone. Bryson is like, I'm good for you, dude. Let's talk about that quickly, because everybody go on.
No, sorry. Just one other thing. Other things that, there's still a couple things that piss you off about this team. One of the things that pissed me off about this team, Josh Dunn's goatee, like his whole mouth region. I fucking hate it. It's like, what is going on down there? Just shave it off, get rid of it, or just grow a full beard. Just pick one or the other. Stop having it,
I don't think you'll have to see it much more now God. With Carrick's addition. Everybody, I'll talk about this for a second. Everybody talked about the return on this Winnipeg thing. Like, dude, Rosen's not an NHL player, especially on this roster. He was never cracking this roster in the next 3 years, and that's, he'll be 26 by then. He might be a third line player on a team like Winnipeg that doesn't have much depth. enough to score 15 goals, but that's his max. I didn't need. He's nothing to me. Bryson was nothing, and a 2 and a 4 can be nothing. I mean, it's just the NHL. If it's not a top 15 pick, you saw this year that the league didn't even care about late first rounders because they were given away for fourth line players like Nicholas Roy and shit like that. Like if it's not a top 10 pick, it should have almost zero value. Or a future first almost has more value than, a late first. I did not have any issue. I think it could be a pile of shit that they got back in Shen and Stanley. I don't think so. I think Stanley's going to be, better than what they have at the 5-6. But it could be a pile of shit, but you only gave up a pile of shit. So I don't to me, I didn't think too much about that. Any thoughts differently?
Yeah, I would have been more upset about the move if Roseanne didn't pronounce his last name Roseanne. I hated saying that. That ruined it for me. If it was Rosine, even, I think I would have been okay. But no, Roseanne, I don't want to call somebody Roseanne. Thank God he's gone.
I did, when you said his name earlier in the podcast, I actually noted that you pronounced it correctly, and I was like, that's mighty big of you, Ryan. He's no longer here. He's probably not listening to the pod. So you could have just said Rosen, and, it would have been fine,
My boy Josh Rosen. I was a big Josh Rosen fan. Maybe that's why.
I was just going somewhere. Wait, Rosen. Oh, man. Fuck. I lost it. I'll get there. When I remember, I'm going to cut in whoever's talking. Back to the game a little bit, because let's talk about this. Do you guys have personal or, any ones that you weren't at that you can think of? I didn't want to give you too much time to think on this, but best regular season games that you could think of, whether you were there or just ones that come off the top of your head. Anything, Chris?
I mean, it's a little bit of recency. Regular season wise, I mean, the Eichel return night was it was one of those cathartic crowd moments. Outside of it's not even close to what I felt yesterday in that arena, but through so much slogging, through absolute shit, to finally have a moment of joy that wasn't just celebrating the past. I mean, that's a big one up there.
Rye.
Was the Mother's Day game, was that in the playoffs? It would have had to have been in the playoffs, right? Because it's May.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, then none other ones really come to mind. I do think, this one, it's not just recency bias. The fact that just the whole situation surrounding it. The fact of where the team has been, where it's going, the 6-game winning streak, the fact that it's for the top of the Atlantic, validating all of everything. It meant a lot. So yes, I think that's number one. I don't really think anything comes too close to it, in my opinion. I think that was easily number one. And so if you were there, good on you. That is the very special game that you got to be at. That was awesome.
Yeah, I think I remembered what I was going to say. Hold on, I'm going to go back to it. Tampa Bay, next game that we play. We know Shen's going to be in. Do they call a certain podcast favorite up to really get physical and get a little Mason Gertzen up there? Huh? Podcast favorite Mason Gertzen. We only, with the two lines, we have Gertzen, Carrick, Shen's playing forward. I don't even care about the 2 points. I just want to go out there and fight constantly.
Would you rather have Gertzen out there or Frodo from Lord of the Rings, aka Krebs? Seriously, come on, but get Gertzen out there. If we're just gonna fight, let's go. Get the guy out there.
I think there has. I don't know if but Lindy is still like this. I don't know if Cooper is like this, but there have been situations, and this is going to be one of my games, but I literally have tried to YouTube it. I've tried to go through every single game. I can't remember when it was. It had to be mid to early 90s. And there was so many fights that year between Sabres and Canadians. It was a really bad rivalry that year. And one game, to start the puck, they had Montreal had 5 forwards out there. The Sabres had four forwards and Bob Bugner. I remember that. I remember Bugner was the defenseman. And literally the puck dropped and 5-on-5. And I don't know if that doesn't happen or something like that doesn't happen, a fight at least, or 2 fights off the opening face-off, because it will be like, all right, let's answer for last game, because Hagel still needs to get some for sure for what he did to Dahlin there at the end. And then just go and let's go play and try to win this game, because it's going to be an important game. So I don't think the teams are going to want to, mess around the whole game, but I think pretty early there will be an answer.
So do you think Cooper's going to go with Johansson again because he knows that they're going to do a goalie fight and he's going to get pulled, and then he goes to what his real plan is, which is Vasilevsky? So in that case, let's go Ellis to start, counteract it. He's the biggest goalie for sure too. That probably could stand up to Johansson.
When I tell you I stood up when Hagel was going after Dahlin and UPL started moving towards them, I got out of my chair and was like, let's fucking go. Now, Chris, you probably know better than us, because they said on the telecast that Johansson didn't even move. But did you notice maybe a one skate towards the other direction?
I mean, I don't even know if he was paying attention to what was going on the other end of the ice. I did look over because UPL was floating around in that area, and I believe he was drinking water while his team was fighting, and the opposing goalie was getting ready to club somebody with the blocker. He's
Johansson was just watching the hat game where it was over the thing. It was mixing around. Oh, it's a middle one.
If you don't pay attention the whole time, you might miss it.
I don't know how much of a fight his team was going through between Hagel is just mauling Dahlin there. He gets fined today, but man, I'm surprised he didn't get kicked out. That was raw. That was bad. The guy punched him 4 times, like just socked him 4 times in the face. And Dahlin's just like, please stop. Ow. It wasn't like a full cowering. His reaction was like, ouchie, stop it. You're hurting me.
Was absolutely brutal officiating, because the way the last game went, everybody knew how this game was going to go. And the officials, instead of being hard-nosed early on, just like, you know what we'll do? Matching penalties when somebody just gets rabbit punched in the back of the head. Matching penalties when a guy just cracks his stick across somebody's shin. 2 guys jump a guy, and you know what? He did take his gloves off, put them all in the box. And it was absurd. It was wonderful. How often do you see that anymore? But there were legitimate moments during that game where I was just like, please don't let one of these assholes sucker punch somebody and we lose Tage Thompson for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I was worried about that. Through the whole game, really. Was like they were gonna get bad, or they were gonna get mad there, especially when it was 4-1. I was like, luckily I think it was almost lucky that the game stayed close and got close, because that third period could have got really ugly if the Sabres would have pulled away, and it would have been fun. But our players are not as strong as their players, but power of friendship. Like, they did eat a lot this time. We talked a lot of shit about how much they ate during the offseason to bulk up, and now it's not so funny anymore, is it?
2 dozen Tim Hortons and a 40 case of Timbits going on the flight last time they went on the road. They got to pack on the pounds for the playoffs.
Only one who didn't get that memo was Josh Norris. I swear, when he was standing near a fight, I was like just worried the wind was going to knock him out from a punch. And, I was like, just stand away, back up.
It was almost shitty that like Dunleavy and Ray you don't want him in there. Like, they literally like said it out loud. It was like, you don't want him anywhere around that. And like, it was like, yeah, no, you don't. Getting back to, I know I derailed this with the Gertzen talk. You guys didn't mention, I think the most obvious one that I said I missed earlier was I think Sabres Senators brawl game. I think that's got to be one of them. The one I thought of is the Leaf Sabres. I think it was like the 2006-07 season. So would that be the President's Trophy year? Like a late March game where they were down 5-1 or 4-1 to the Leafs in Buffalo and came back and won it with like 10 minutes left. I remember that game off the top of my head. It was really a lot of fun, but it's hard to, besides the Ottawa game, it's hard to like say anything that got anywhere close to what yesterday was. And especially because what it meant for probably so many people in that arena. There was probably so many people. Oh, yeah. Chris, you yourself, like have said it, like that they haven't experienced anything like that type of environment. And it seemed from, home that it was very, very contagious. Around. I liked your point that they didn't give up, like that's such a Buffalo thing, especially with like the mindset around the Sabres team is like, we're in March and I think some of us weren't believing that this was real still until these last couple of weeks. And that's just like the Buffalo mentality thing, but really cool to see the fans stick in down 2 and, luckily Carrick gets that goal Carrick and then Tuck, I think, right? They go back down 2 and then Tuck with what was that? I mean, Tuck's not known for speed. And he just legitimately just went by that. I mean, it would look like slow motion.
Tampa's slow. Tampa's kind of slow.
Yeah.
That's where this team's going to be in. Go ahead.
I just want to say one other thing, and if Chris, you have any other state arena thoughts, would love to hear those too. But I just want to shout out, I mean, Lindy Ruff too. I mean, how good does it feel that Lindy Ruff gets to experience this too? I mean, I saw some of his post-game presser and he's, kind of tearing up talking about the guys. And I mean, what a way to bookend his incredible career. And if he's done this year, I mean, obviously if, crazy saying this, but if they win a cup, I think he rides off into the sunset, but he's close enough to, second or third all time in wins. If I had any faith in Google, now that AI has killed our ability to find any simple answers on Google, I would look it up, but he's pretty close, I think, in wins.
Well, Quenneville just got to 1,000, and I think he's number 2.
We need the Quenneville files to come out so we can take them down and get Andy back.
I got it here for you. Scotty Bowman at 1,244. He's not getting there. I'll tell you that. Quenneville 1,004, Paul Maurice 947, and Lindy Ruff 939. He'll end up behind Quenneville and Maurice, I'd imagine. Quenneville's probably, I mean, he's back in the game doing well now. Maurice is way younger. But whatever. I mean, like you said, and I my pinned tweet on Twitter is the fact that he has been employed by the Sabres for every decade that they've existed, and that's awesome. It's awesome that he's here as part of this, and maybe this is special. I've said this numerous times. I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but like we didn't know 05 or 06 was a good team until we knew it was a good team. Yep. And that's why Jenneret's "Now do you believe" line was so great, was because I don't know if I believed before that. It was just kind of like, when's the this is a fun story, but when are the wheels coming down or off? This feels real at this point. I mean, to close out, any closing thoughts on how you feel about what's happening here now? What's realistic here with 18 games left? Mura, you start.
Well, with a 99% chance of making the playoffs and about an 8% chance of winning the cup. gun to my head, what do I want from the rest of the season? I want them to win one round. That's it. All I want to see is I want them to win a round. And if they lose the following round, I'll bow out happy and say the season was a total success beyond my wildest dreams. If they do any more than that, I can't even imagine what I would say. But that's all I really want at this point. They're going to get in. I think they have a fighting chance. I want to see them win a round just for the playoff experience of setting up and building for something next year or the year later. But at the same time, I say that. And what really does it mean to need to be ready, right? Aren't we already kind of here? Isn't this could be our best shot? I mean, with Tuck, who knows if he walks, after this, doesn't take a hometown discount. I mean, maybe this is the time. So I want to see some playoff success, though. That's my bar.
Chris?
I mean, I'm feeling fantastic. What do I want to see the rest of the way? Let me talk about something real quick. I've been dying to talk about this all podcast. Let's talk about Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, okay? Let's talk about how he lost a game on the road, came home, got hammered, struck out again at the bar, and then we bullied him into being good. I say we go right back to him on Tuesday with San Jose, okay? Because this is a historical thing with him. He had, when they were going for the franchise record, 11th straight win, he had a shaky game against Columbus. He had a shaky game yesterday against Tampa Bay, big game for the division. I think he gets a little too amped up. I think that's part of his problem with the ladies when he's talking to them at the bar. Okay, but we need to get some confidence in him. You put him back into the game. And I know that it's a lack of confidence because I learned something about Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen over the past week that I never noticed before. If we tag him when we post this podcast, he will watch it. He will watch it. He is incredibly online. After the game, within a minute of the Sabres posting the post-game celebration, whether he is on the bench or starting the game, he is reposting that within a minute. We've got to get this guy some confidence to have a two-goalie tandem going into the playoffs. That's what I want to see. We got to get UPL, get him busy in the crease, get him busy in the sheets, get his head straight, and we're going to go on a magnetic run.
I don't want I know a little bit of that's bit. I know I don't want to go away from a tandem. I definitely think this needs to stay. You can't, one bad game can't get you away from what's worked. But I will say this. I was UPL starting game one up until yesterday, and I think Alex Lyon is playing playoff hockey until a loss, and then maybe they make the move. But Alex Lyon is your starter game one. Now they're so close.
We need to get him back.
They're so close, and the tandems, and so that can change here in the next 18 games. I'm not, Lyon could go on a cold streak, and UPL could look good, and that might change. But right now, playoffs start tomorrow. Alex Lyon's my starting goalie, I think.
I'm kind of with Chris on his plan. 40 Thieves has trivia night on Tuesday, so maybe he gets there a little bit late, shows up, meets himself a real smart, nice young lady. I don't know if they actually have trivia going. I don't actually
calls the trivia person like before, and the first question is, what Buffalo Sabres goalie has won over? And he's just like, me? Yeah. That's a good plan. Let's get that confidence back up. Let's get him on the pod. Get him pumped. We'll push Gertson's appearance for UPL. We'll get him laughing a little bit, get him going, and maybe that gets him riled up to take him and Lyon fights for literally fights for the first game. Also, I think Lyon would whoop his ass. Lyon looks like he can. Lyon might be the one I want in the net for the next Tampa Bay.
Ellis. Oh, come on. Ellis is the biggest guy for sure, right?
He's like the tallest, but he's like he's a twig.
I mean, all goalies
are goalies. They're all twigs.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Lyon looks like he's got some beef. Lyon looks like he's got some shoulders on.
Ryan Miller, Bobrovsky. Never seen that guy? That guy looks like a skeleton with skin covered. Just that's it. I mean, he's tiny.
Ryan Miller was a $105 soaking wet. That dude
Yeah.
was like after a game drenched in sweat. He was 105. That was
Tell you what, we should have given him that job at Duff's. That would have been perfect. Put some weight on him.
That's it. Well, Pareko, you lost your job at Duff's. We don't want you. We didn't want you. I'm good with Stanley, and Shen could make the whole trade worth it for just whooping Radish's ass the next time they play him, and it would be worth it. He would be a -4 for the game after that, but it's fine. He did his job, and hopefully Stanley, is better than my boy Metza. Kesserling gets it together. I don't see a world where they just sit Kesserling and Metza and it's Shed and Stanley. Like I don't think that happens without injury or whatever. I think Kesserling, they're going to try to let him work through it. And like Ryan said, probably his best game of the year last game. Let's hope he pushes through. But man, the forwards, let's go. They could skate with anybody. It's a lot of fun right now. We are having a lot of fun. We're definitely going to be back in 2 weeks. I don't know. As we get into the playoffs, maybe we'll start doing more. But right now we'll be back in 2 weeks. Talk about hopefully another. There's 13 games in that 2 weeks, so there will be a lot more to talk about. I'm there 3 times. Me personally, there 3 times this week. It's that's more than I've been in that arena, probably in 15 years. So in a week. So I'm looking forward to it. For Chris, Ryan, I'm Louis G. Let's go Sabres.